So to kick off today's conversation, could you please tell me your name and who you work for?
Yeah, my name's Kristina Allison, and I work for WSP as capability lead for the environmental and net zero space within the lighting and energy solutions team.
Can you tell us about your current role, or roles, as I would say, and what that involves and what motivates you day to day to carry out these roles?
Right. Okay. Well, we'll go with my employment role with WSP. So what motivates me for that role particularly is generally my broader interest in sustainability and environmental aspects related to circular economy, environment, material usage, embodied carbon, and those kind of conversations. Now that really touches on not just lighting, but all areas of the built environment. And my second role, if you like, is as President-elect of the Society of Light and Lighting, which is the lighting arm of CIBSE, being the Chartered Institute of Building Service Engineers. And what really motivates me with that is the knowledge sharing, if I'm honest, and how, within the group, within the industry, we share what we know, and we grow and we move on and innovate, actually.
Can you share with me how your career choices led you to these roles and what made you inspired as you picked to work in these areas?
I think just my general interest of just getting involved. So at university, I studied product design, and I was interested in sustainability back then, many years ago. And when I finished university, I got a job doing lighting design, and very soon after that, I got involved in the Society of Light and Lighting. So I think I would say just my general tenacity and ambition to get involved. You should get yourself involved with more and more things.
Could you share with us some of the biggest challenges you have faced, especially as a woman in a fairly male-dominated industry, and any insights into how you navigated through them to get where you are today? So, for example, anything on gender bias, or where there were any stereotyping that you might have.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it surrounds me, but I guess my awareness to it may be just how much I choose to indulge in the conversations of it. I think, I think in some ways you probably overcompensate in some ways in some areas to kind of be heard. And maybe that's probably some of my, the reason I push to do all these extra things is because I feel that, I want to be seen. Maybe that's unconscious within myself. And maybe that's just, as a consequence of the things you just described there. But so I guess I know it definitely exists. I mean, it's definitely a thing that people will have felt negatively in their own careers. But I guess it depends on how you deal with it and how it comes to you.
Could you share with us some of the biggest achievements you consider you've achieved through a career, and draw on some of your insights from them?
Yeah, no, for sure. And this really does lean into the role I have with the Society of Light and Lighting at SLL. I was co-author of the CIBSE document TM66, which looks at circular economy within the industry. That's taken off really, really well within the industry, not just for lighting designers and consultants, but manufacturers as well. In fact, to the point where I see people present that work back to me, which is lovely to see, and to see that it's changing the industry. And similarly with TM 65.2, which is the lighting version, that talks about embodied carbon in the industry as well. So these are big industry documents that are shaping the way the industry is moving forward in terms of energy efficiency and sustainability. And I hope, and I'm seeing like our clients, so moving into my WSP role, our clients are taking this on board as well. So it's shaping not only how the industry is moving forward, but how designers and consultancies move forward, and for our clients as well. But that was the whole idea, was to change the world in a nutshell. Nothing too big there, but so it's good to see things slowly moving in that direction.
Could you also describe a bit of your leadership style, how that's evolved over time, and what made it evolve, and what made you change the ways you were leading teams?
I don't know if it's ever changed. I suppose it's probably matured. So that might be a different way to put it. But I suppose I've always just been really honest, I suppose, and just genuine. I think that's the other word. Just a bit honest and genuine, open, and by having kind of those conversations in that honest way, you build a kind of a rapport, and on that basis you're equal. And I appreciate in the leadership role you can't really be completely equal, but by trying to not have a kind of a hierarchical kind of micromanagement style, then I think you can make progress, and that filters down into the success of projects and building client relationships as well. So I think that's really important.
What guidance or advice would you give any young woman who is aspiring to enter the energy technology industry and the sustainability sectors?
Yeah, get curious. Just look into things. I look back to when I started, I would attend CPDs, I would attend seminars, I would show up ultimately, and I think through continuously showing up at events and then having knowledge as well. So you become knowledgeable at that point, and then you kind of you become networking. That's where I'm getting there. So yeah, like I say, just get curious, show up, and keep on going.
What do you consider to be the key skills needed to succeed in the industry? And are there any tools or techniques that can help them accelerate in their career, especially looking at women?
I think soft skills, and I think that's perhaps where, dare I say, women exceed or excel, sorry. Because I think it's the ability, like I mentioned, in terms of me and my management style, by having conversations and being open and genuine. I think that's, like I say, soft skills, having people skills, having empathy, all these sorts of things. That's how you build good client relationships as well in business.
Do you have any types of training courses or networking groups that you can recommend? I know you mentioned networking and learning opportunities already, but it'll be good to have some examples that young people can really identify and go into and kick off their careers.
Yeah, I think depending on what industry or discipline you're working within, I mentioned the Society of Light and Lighting. We have many events and things like that. So that's a good opportunity for the networking side of things. But that's just my industry. So I would say look into the industry that you're working within, all that surround it as well, not just focused on your own discipline. Perhaps it's to look at the complementary ones that surround it as well, and try and participate in, like I say, learning or networking events, to broaden your wider network. So yeah, I'd recommend do that.
What do you think are the main changes needed to encourage more women enter the industry? That's sort of looking at energy efficient technologies and sustainability, innovation in the sustainability field, and also take leadership roles going forward.
That's a difficult question, I think, in a way. I think there's nothing stopping anybody doing anything. I don't know if that answers that question particularly, but I think it just goes on your experience, and the more experience that you gain, the more confidence you get, and I think through that confidence, you feel comfortable in those more leadership roles, and that comes down to the experience and the knowledge you gain on your journey as well.
Why do you believe more women should consider a career in energy technologies?
I think, although when you're in the industry, you see it as your whole world, that in fact actually is still quite a niche industry. And there is an enormous need for this to be taken up, not as a niche industry, but as business as usual, to resolve the problems that we're trying to solve within the sector itself. So looking at energy efficiency, as innovation in sustainable technologies and things like that, the more people recognise it as a necessity, and the necessity it is when we're trying to look at global warming and conversations around that, and then how the government and government bodies haven't necessarily legislated for it. We need individuals to be pushing the topic forward, moving that conversation, making it mandatory. And I think that's why we need passionate people to come into the industry and to shape the future.